Hey guys, I know it's been a long time since I've made a video. I'm really sorry. But as you can probably tell, I moved. The location is a lot better now, I have a lot more space, and now you can actually see my games behind me. Anyway, let's get back to the review. As you guys already know from the Let's Play that I last put up, today's review is on Super Mario Bros. 2. We've all grown up in a world where Super Mario was the automatic face to Nintendo. But let's go back in time. Let's imagine that we're still in a world where Super Mario Bros. Was the only Mario game that we knew. After its huge success, people were left wanting more. Having saved the princess and being no longer told that she's in another castle, well, it just left us with the want of more adventures. Riding on this huge high, Miyamoto and his team got to work on the new Super Mario Bros. But after some development, they scrapped the engine that they were using in order to maintain the Mario that everybody knew. In fact, the original code that they were using was adding more verticality to the game than we were used to. So, out comes Super Mario Bros. 2. I don't get it, guys. The Mario that is here isn't the Mario that we played. What the hell's going on? Okay, the truth is that this is what Japan got as their release for Mario 2. After everything, the game was a success, so work started on releasing it out in the West. Now, Nintendo wasn't a company that really understood the Western world, so to bridge the gap, they had hired somebody who would understand the Western world and would actually play the games and give suggestions on what they could do to make the game better and how it would be received in the Western world. After playing Mario 2, he decided that it was far too hard for the Western players, and he suggested that Nintendo rethink what they were going to release out in the West. So what Nintendo was basically saying was that the American public couldn't handle the difficulty of Super Mario Bros. 2. That's a little bit offensive, don't you guys think? Now, moving on to a side note. Through everything that Nintendo was going through to create Mario 2, they had actually been approached by the Dream Factory company, and they had requested that Nintendo make a game with the Dream Factory branding and their characters. Nintendo dusted off their original code for Mario 2, and they used that to create the game called Doki Doki Panic. So now, going back to the story. When Nintendo was told that the release of Mario 2 was way too hard for the Western world, they decided to use Doki Doki Panic instead. Yet again, they rebranded the game, and this time added Mario characters. That is the Super Mario Bros. 2 that we actually know. So in a weird roundabout way, we did get the original Mario 2, since the original Mario 2's code is the game that was Doki Doki Panic, and Doki Doki Panic is the game they used for Mario 2. Huh, pretty interesting, the things you learn. You know, overall the games are pretty much identical, save for a few brand differences. Doki Doki Panic's 4 protagonists, for example, consist of Papa, Lena, Imogen, and Mama. Guys, I'm really sorry if I butchered those names, I'm trying my best here. So Papa is like Toad. He's strong and he's able to pull up the plants very quickly, but he's not able to jump nearly as high as everybody else. Luigi and Mama share the same ability. They have a very floaty jump, and they can also jump quite high. Lena is everybody's favorite, Peach. They are both able to float for a few seconds, which, believe you me, it can be a total lifesaver. Lastly, we have Mario and Imogen. They're the balanced characters. They can do everything pretty much in the middle of everybody else. Moving on to the story. The story of Mario 2 starts by having Mario dream of a world that's in trouble. He wakes up and realizes that he's actually late to go meet his friends for a picnic. So when he's finally there, he ends up finding a cave and they decide to explore it. The cave leads them to the world that Mario had just been dreaming about. Can you imagine? The world is actually called Subcon, and the inhabitants have been kidnapped by the evil King Wart. It's up to Mario and his crew, like always, to save the day. Now, one thing that's really great about this game is the music. I gotta say, this music, although it's not a lot of variety, the ones that are there are really, really catchy. I mean, like this tune. Or what about this one? Yeah, that music is great, and I find myself humming it in the car all the time. Now getting on to the differences, this game introduced so many changes that it's really hard to list them all off. Some of the most important changes were actually the sprites. If you look at the cartoons, they look so much better now. Mario actually looks like the Mario that we've all grown to love over so many years. And Luigi now looks like Luigi, not just Mario with a palette swap. We have Peach, and we have Toad. And they all control differently. I think that's pretty amazing for such an old game. Those graphics are pretty amazing. It's quite a huge leap from Mario 1 to Mario 2. I mean, everything looks different. Everything looks better. Can you imagine being back in the 80s, early 90s, and going from Mario 1 and then seeing Mario 2 and seeing those amazing graphics? Kids' minds must have been blown at the magic that Nintendo could create. So along with the reimagining of our heroes, we have new enemies. Enemies like the Shy Guy, the Sniffets, or the nightmare-inducing Phanto. One welcome change that was the first in this game was the use of new boss fights. We weren't forced to constantly jump over Bowser onto his little bridge release. We were introduced to guys like Mauser, Triclyde, Fry Guy, Claw Grip, and the infamous Birdo. Now for those of you who don't know, Birdo was actually a cause of censorship. In the original manual, in Japan, they actually said that Birdo was a man who liked to dress like a woman. They changed everything because Nintendo wasn't comfortable. They changed Birdo into a girl. But back then, Nintendo was pushing boundaries. Who would have thought? Now the most important part to any game, despite how it looks and despite the music, is how it actually plays. Mario 2 is your typical Mario game. It plays amazingly, it controls very tightly, and it adds a very nice increasing challenge. I don't know what they were talking about when it came to Nintendo's original Mario 2 being too hard and this game being an easier version, cause boy, let me tell you, I haven't been able to beat this thing. This game kicked my ass, but it was a lot of fun doing it all. There's a few extra movements now that you can do, such as holding down to be able to boost your jump and get a little bit higher than you normally would jump. There's also the ability to pick up plants and throw them at characters. You no longer just jump on them to kill them. This totally mixes up the gameplay and makes the game that much more interesting and makes you think ahead on what you're gonna do with the next item that you find. So after everything is said and done, what can I say about Mario 2? It's a great game, guys. It's a Mario game. Was there anything I really needed to say? The game is awesome, and although the history is really mixed up and kind of confusing, we did get a Mario 2 that was intended to be Mario 2. And we eventually did get the Mario 2 that Japan got in the Lost Worlds that we ended up getting. Or was it the Lost Levels? Lost something or other. Anyway, the game is great, and if you have a chance to pick it up, you should. I'm pretty sure Nintendo has it on their Virtual Console, but I was able to get this one fairly cheap. If you have a Nintendo lying around, go ahead and buy yourself one. It's a lot of fun and you won't regret it. And trust me, it's really going to give you a challenge. Don't believe that BS of the Lost Levels being harder than this game. This game's pretty damn hard too. So you better get your pants and buckle them tight, because you're in for a ride. Anyways guys, now that I'm at my new place, I'm hoping to get more videos out and get them out more often. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next review.